Hey everybody, this is Javi, and you are watching the Inner Child Collective, where you and your inner child heal for the better. Welcome and hello for those who are just finding this channel. I am a psychic, intuitive medium, and author who specializes in inner child therapy. And one way I do that is by giving readings centering the inner child. Um, and today we're going to be doing an inner child archetype reading. It's very uh, different from what I usually do, like a pick a card or whatnot, or maybe it's not, I'm not sure. But basically, like it definitely does focuses on the inner child, how we use certain archetypes and stereotypes to survive traumatic experiences and traumatic environments, abusive environments, and how we can actually unlearn and like put those archetypes to rest so we can really tap into who we really are. So if you resonate with this in this message in any way, shape, or form, by all means, let me know. Um, in the comments, you can also DM me. If you are interested in getting a more in-depth inner child reading, you can go to www.innerchildcollective.com and book an appointment. Go to the services tab and book an appointment, or like just leave a review. I really read the comments and the reviews just so I know what y'all think. And also, I focus on the algorithms and things as well. So please share and comment if this resonates with you, because the more people who know about the inner child and ways we can heal that inner child and connect with the inner child, the better. Let me turn on this light. Uh-oh. There you go. There you go. So we're going to be doing an inner child archetype reading. It's different from the archetype or the um, pick a card reading. So I'll be doing those really soon, but we're just focusing on one type of archetype or whatever spirit has in store for us. So let's get started. So tonight, or for this video, we're going to be focusing on the archetype. What archetype for the collective, right, represents the inner child? But what archetype, you know what I mean? Which one, represents the inner child for those who are meant to hear this message? Oh, dear higher spirit, what archetype represents the inner child, the collective's inner child, or those who are meant to hear this message? What archetype okay. We have two. Oh, we have two of them. Here we go. I think we got this one before. So basically, we have the magical child here and the wounded child. I'm not making this up. This is what we got here. So basically, we have a couple of these because there's a lot of us. A lot of us. The magical child is coming through. If you can see, the magical child is coming through because we are. This is the full where when this video drops, or by the time this video drops, the full moon in Gemini is very much in effect. So it's happened on November 30th, and the power is still felt here, like at this time. So basically, what I am getting from this card is that a lot of us are being asked to tap into our magic. A lot of our inner child energy is about, for this archetype, it's about power. It's about finding power. It's about internalizing your power. In fact, a lot of kids, when we were children, a lot of us knew what our power was. And so the archetype that we are working with, even to this day, is the magical archetype, the magical child archetype. We use our magic to not only fulfill our destiny, to find our purpose, but to also learn how to navigate our situation if we're in an abusive situation or was in an abusive situation when we were children. And what I'm getting is that we still tap into a little bit of that energy, especially now that we now that a lot of us are now stepping into our power in 2020. Despite all that's happening, we are stepping into our power. We are stepping into our magic and practicing magic, maybe, but also we are learning what our destiny is, right? So this is about seeing our potential. This is about learning our potential and basically navigating through the healing process and unlearning our trauma in order for us to see our potential. This really is about us, the adult self, stepping into our power in ways that we were not able to do so before because we did not have the room or the freedom necessary to do that when we were kids. And so now we are tapping into that power, and we're tapping into our potential. And a lot of us are going to be like doing a lot of self-love, self-compassion, self-care, which is what we are required to do if we have had like a trauma history or a history where we were just exposed to interpersonal violence and being attacked on many levels. Our self-esteem and our self-worth is very much shattered when we're in those type of situations. So a lot of us used our magic, especially as children, we used our magic in order for us to take ourselves, out, energetically take ourselves from those situations. So there was a lot of visualization, a lot of daydreaming, a lot of um, I guess considered magical thinking in regards to pretending that we were someone else or pretending that we were something else in order for us to maintain our sanity. And we use those methods, those coping mechanisms to recognize our power. At the same time, a lot of us also use our magic. I don't know why I'm using air quotes. A lot of us use our magic to dissociate, to take ourselves out of that reality, to use positive psychology to like think ourselves out of, out of a situation and like some negative thinking, when in actuality we are to be doing shadow work. So this is a lot of being honest with ourselves. When we got this card right here, a lot of us who have this archetype, we're being asked to use our magic in order to do shadow work and to also be honest about ourselves in regards to the impact of the abuse and how it affected us on a regular basis. And this is time for us to talk about like our power being taken away as a result. And so we are to have faith in our system. We are to have faith in spirit. We are to have faith in our ancestors. But we also have to um, learn to see our reality for what it is. To see our reality for what it is. I noticed I should have like turned off my stuff. It's always when I am doing something. But that's my fault. There you go. I can at least turn off my phone. So the second card we received as far as archetypes is the wounded child. Now, this card comes up a lot for the collective or those those who are meant to hear this message, because in addition to being a magical child, a lot of us also use magic to or use our imagination, use our power in order to seek justice for what happened to us. And so a lot of us are being told um, to let go of the wounded child archetype. A lot of us are just feeling especially wounded. A lot of us are going to be doing shadow work, which means that we're going to be doing a lot of reminiscing around or about what happened to us when we were children, what happened to us, when it comes to bullying and how it happened and who did it and what for. A lot of us are going to be thinking about the injustice that happened in regards to our relationships with people. I'm getting a lot of things about fawning and being in love with people or being in love with the energy of people in our families or caretakers who are charismatic, and we were fighting for their approval only to have that being taken away, because they were standoffish and there was like this really weird power dynamic between you and your abuser. Um, there's a lot of energy that is going around right now about communication and about using your wounds to tell your story and not, in a case, being a victim. Right. So what I'm getting from this is that the wounded child is about having compassion for yourself, being angry, and being very vocal about what happened to you, whether it become whether it's about telling your story through writing, telling your story through writing essays, a book, or just doing some sort of public speaking, or just getting online and creating a platform where you are talking about what happened to you and doing it in a way that you are healing. But the shadow aspect is about you using that, let me back up. The light attribute is about you using your story of abuse or using your trauma story in order for you to to heal, and to help other people heal in the collective, just like it's something that I am doing on a regular basis. At the same time, though, we are to realize and recognize how we use our stories and how we use our the stories in our unconscious mind, subconscious mind, to reenact a lot of the victimhood or the self victimhood that or reenact our abuse, and painting ourselves as victims and using that to be angry and having that feeling of hopelessness all the time. And so this is very much, these cards are, it does not surprise me at all if these cards have come up, because it's literally about using this opportunity, using this energy that is happening right now, um, excuse me, in order for us to recognize our power and to shed a lot of the old skin in those, that is very centered around those old stories that we tell ourselves. And so, like, what I'm getting is that, like, we have got to stop blaming. Um, we can no longer come up with any sort of excuse, is what these two archetypes are saying. We can't come up with any other excuse to hold on to these stories anymore. It's not a coincidence that this call to let go of things, it and to let go of things, to work through things, to do shadow work, is not surprising that it's happening in the month of December, because December is basically the period where old things and old paradigms, old ways of thinking, they are dying off, right? They are dying off. They have grown old. They have lost their strength. They're supposed to lose their strength, and they are to be released through shadow work and released through inner child work. And so you're being asked, for those who are holding on to these archetypes, you're not only being asked to let go of these stories, to let go of these stories through shadow work, but to also use your magic and use your magic, the magic within your story, your strength and your courage, in order to let go of those stories and to step into your power. That's what the magical card is, the magical child is calling for us to do, to step into our power and to recognize how strong we are and how we are much stronger than the stories of abuse and trauma that we have been reenacting on the subconscious level. So let's see here what that looks like. What does that look like? So, oops, dear higher spirit. What was our inner child like? What was the what was the magical child and the wounded child like? Could you tell me a little bit about the magical child, the history of the magical child and the wounded child in regards to the collective? Can you tell me a little bit about that? Can you tell me about the collective's inner child, the wounded child, and the magical child? Okay. So what I got here, and I'm not making this up, we got these cards before. This is the Six of Swords. What I'm getting from this is that you were literally a child who was always searching for something, always searching for something, always looking for some sort of way out in regards to your power. You were always looking for your strength and your courage outside of yourself. And you were always like, you were very interested in magic and you were very interested in stories. And there was a time, right, that you use your imagination to the best of your ability, but you were also searching for something that was like, what can make me look more, what can make me more powerful? What can make me like, you're always like searching for something. You're always in your imagination. You're always adventurous and inquisitive. And so like you felt magic within you. Like there was a time when you like felt magic within you when you were a child. So your imagination was very strong. Your connection to spirit was very strong. And also like you didn't have a care in the world, as I'm concerned. So what I'm getting from the Six of Swords is that even though you were I'm getting your imagination was very strong. Your imagination was extremely strong, and you're always, always, always asking questions and searching. Thank you for and searching for answers, and always searching for some sort of question or answers to your question. I am getting, as far as like the age bracket here, around 5 or 6. When I'm getting around 5 or 6, there were some things going on around you, and you had questions in regards to what was going on. Okay, and so you had like you were very inquisitive and you were very wise for children within that age bracket, and you were like at that age between the ages of two between the ages of 2 and 7, your mind is like a sponge. It's like that for any child. You're asking questions because you're searching for answers from other people, because the people who are around you, they are your teachers. They're automatically your teachers, your parents, your teachers, the community around you. That's where the searching for answers have come from. Thank you, Spirit. You were often searching for answers on the outside because you wanted to know about the real world and how the world operated. In addition to you having this active imagination, you did have a lot of questions about what was going on in this world. However, what I'm also getting, I got the Queen of Swords here. You're around people who are untrustworthy. You're around people, as a child, you were around people who did not have um, your your basic needs in mind. They had ill intentions. I'm just getting that these particular people, you felt at one point that they were tired of you. You felt like they were not here for you, and you didn't understand why they were so mean. I'm getting a lot of bullying from this card as well. So you were surrounded by people who really didn't have good intentions for you, and they hurt you emotionally, psychologically, and in some cases physically. And so you really did not understand why people were treating you this way, because in your magical mind there was like this golden rule that however however you treat people, you would get the same in return. And I'm just getting like this innocence around you, this sense of innocence around you, and feeling like, why is this happening? Right? You didn't understand why this was happening to you, and everything they were saying to you and doing to you, you just didn't understand what was happening. So you're around 6 or 7 when this happened. So that tells me that a lot of y'all who are resonating with this message, a lot of y'all were bullied. A lot of you were bullied by family members and people in school. I'm getting these this vision of people like making fun of you on the playground, picking on you on the playground, um, beating you up, or doing something to pretty much chip away at your spirit. And so there's a part of you that's like, you know for a fact you didn't do anything wrong, so you're asking yourself why you a target of this violence. And the reason being is because there's a lot of reasons. They did not understand you. You were different, and because you were different, in their mind, they didn't know how to respond to you. And different, we all know that, difference, or anything pertaining to difference tends to scare people. And because they were afraid of you and didn't know what to do with you, it was just easier for them to ridicule you and to put their hands on you and make it seem like you were doing something wrong when that was not the case. So you were just surrounded by people who did not love you or appreciate you at all, or didn't know what to say or do for you, right? They didn't. They also, what I'm getting to is that a lot of these people didn't like themselves, and a lot of these other folks. Um, I'm gonna turn this down. I hope I can do this. Oh, let me do this. There you go. So a lot of these folks didn't really like themselves too much, and so they always had a problem with you. If it wasn't going to be you, they were going to pick on somebody else like you. So there's a lot of y'all that the wounded child has come up. A lot of those wounds that you are carrying is from bullying, from being hurt physically, emotionally, and in some cases sexually, by other people. You were just felt attacked all around, and there was really, you didn't feel safe. There was really nowhere you can go. At least you felt that way. So I'm also getting like the moon card here. So a lot of y'all were very inquisitive on the outside, but you were also very introspective, right? There was a lot of introspection, and a lot of subconscious things, because when you get the moon, that means like there's like subconscious things going on, unconscious things going on. So what I'm getting from this card is that you had a lot to say, but felt like you could not say them, and as a result of that, like that's where a lot of the wounds have come from. You see a lot of kids who, or a lot of adults rather, where with the inner wounded child, a lot of them are wounded as well because they were silenced, right? And so you saw a lot of things, you've seen a lot of things, and there were many times when you wanted to like say something, right? Like, this is not right. Why is this happening? I'm getting around 8 or 9 when this was going on, because as a child, you were very, very, very observant. You saw what was going on, and you felt like there are many times where you felt like people were like talking to you, or talking to you like you were stupid, right? Like, because you were a child, you didn't know what was going on, and so you were um, wanting to say something and raise your voice in some way, shape, or form, but deep down inside, you really couldn't do it. You really couldn't do it without some sort of punishment. And so, long story short, there were a lot of you who um, were pretty much like, I just felt like you felt like you needed to be involved and wanted to be involved in what was going on in the household in regards to like the big decisions, and because you were a child, therefore you were to be seen and not heard. Um, so I would like to know what your teenage years were like. For those, oh wow! So you got all these cards, right? So what I got here, yeah, 5 of Wands. There was a lot of violence in your home. There was a lot of violence, and there was a lot of discord in your home. Um, and there were people who actually enjoyed that discord. There were people who actually enjoyed that violence. Um, didn't do very much about it. Saw what was going on. I'm definitely getting bullying and during your teenage years, pre-adolescence, maybe around the 6th grade or so, 5th or 6th grade is what I'm getting. And that what I'm getting is that a lot of people knew what was going on, and a lot of people had blinders on, ignored what was going on, chose to ignore what was going on, and there was just a lot of violence around you. And then I'm not just getting this from school. I'm getting this like, thank you. I'm getting this from teachers, not just family, but teachers as well. There were a lot of teachers who probably suspected what was going on and didn't say anything, which is what plays into the wounded child. And because you felt like you didn't have a lot of support, more than likely you like fell knee deep into daydreaming or taking yourself out of the reality, or feeling as if, or thinking as if you deserved a better life than what you received or what you were living at that time. Because I'm definitely getting like people trying to pull the wool over your eyes, and they're just seeing like this disaster. There were people were asking like, what's going on with this kid? What's happening? Why do they look like this? Why do they act like this? Not and maybe they were not equipped at that time, but there was a lot of mandated reporters who were not doing their job. And in fact, I'm getting that a lot of them were a part of the problem. So you didn't know where to go, and you just felt like a lot of teachers and a lot of administrators really let you down, and pretty much like made you feel as if you were not important. I'm definitely getting like fifth or sixth grade and around this point. I'm also getting like for this particular card, I'm also getting like seventh or eighth grade. There was a lot going on, and these teachers knew about it and were asking questions among themselves. And they knew that you were being bullied. They knew that people were laughing at you. They knew that a lot of um, that something wasn't normal, something wasn't right um, with you in regards to how you were acting at the time. And there was no, more than likely, there was no talk about trauma, depending on when you were born. But there was no talk about trauma. There was no talk about, abuse. There was no talk about anything because, for one, you weren't saying anything. You were too afraid to say anything. And I'm also getting like, suicide ideations around this time, like sixth or seventh grade. So a lot of you were like so distraught and so out of it, and so there was like so hopeless. There was so much hopelessness and despair that you did not want to be here anymore. If you have not tried suicide ideations, there was a time when you thought about it, okay, and possibly almost completed it. But there was just a lot of sadness. I'm getting a lot of sadness around you at around that time. So that's one thing. Oh wow. So Ace of Swords, y'all were angry as hell. There was a lot of anger here. Okay. And when you were a teenager, there was a lot of anger that was very like it was brewing, it was deep inside. Because there was a time, and I'm seeing the sword here, and the sword, as you know, is about the intellect, the conscious mind, and what's on the conscious mind, our thoughts and what we are thinking. And I'm seeing like levels of violence. So there was a lot of there was a if you did not, a lot of you acted out on it, possibly fighting your I'm getting fighting your enemies, basically fighting bullies, fighting and arguing with people at this point because you were sick and tired of being picked on. I'm also getting to that you were probably, if you were I don't know if they have that now. Again, it all depends on when you were born. I'm getting detention, suspensions, in-house, they call it in-house, but I guess it's called in-house suspension wherever, depending on what age or where you are in the world, or in the state, or country rather. But I'm definitely getting that you were in trouble on a regular basis. And it's a cry for help, right? You were bullied and talked about for so long, picked on for so long. I'm getting seventh or eighth grade with this, and I'm getting that you were picked on for so long that you're like, I'm not putting up with this shit anymore. Bring it all day, every day, and you got in trouble. You retaliated, and you were the one who got in trouble for it as a result. So you didn't put up with a lot of stuff after a while, and so there was just this like rage, just rage, pent up rage. And you were just like, but deep down, you're not like that. You don't even like fighting. You don't even like arguing. You don't like doing any of that type of stuff. But what I am getting is that when push comes to shove and you were bullied for like a particular period of time, you began to get tired and you began to retaliate. So I'm definitely getting that. And also like you got the seven of swords here. There was a part of you that like there was some sneakiness that was going on around you too. I definitely felt like um there's a part of you that just wanted to disappear and be left alone. That's what I'm getting from this card. Like you wanted to disappear and just be left alone. Um, you were fine. You just wanted a safe space for yourself, so you can collect your thoughts, so you can be yourself, and so you were trying to find safe havens, and that's what I got from the Seven of Swords. You were definitely trying to find safe havens for yourself because you felt like no matter where you went, there was some sort of there was this lack of safety. And so you just want to collect your thoughts, stick to yourself, and just be somewhere where you can just rest for a minute. I'm getting that your mind just went a mile a minute, because you didn't know what was going to happen to you on a daily basis, and because you didn't know what was going to happen to you, what I'm getting from this is like, um, you just felt like I can't, like I can't live like this. Like you're very much into. I'm just getting the energy of you being in your head. You're being in your head the majority of the time, and this is towards the end of the 7th or 8th grade. So you're basically going into the 9th grades, which tells me that this was like 14, 15 years of age, where you were you were just wanting to be. You were just tired of fighting. You were tired of fighting and defending yourself, and there was a part of you that just wanted to disappear somewhere, right? So, and I'm also getting to like, yeah, the wheel of fortune. I'm just getting the wheel of fortune. You were hoping, yeah, like, oh wow. So your luck has not changed. It's just one tragedy after another, one set of trauma after another. And regardless of what you were trying to do during your teenage years, it just seems to me, or whatever piece you were looking to find, there was really nothing that was coming there was really nothing um, in regards to your safety where you can go. It just seemed like no matter what you did to change the situation, something worse came along. Something way worse came along. And so I'm getting like there was a lot of chaos around you, a lot of chaos, especially when you entered high school. Um, it just seemed like the bullying never ended. The bullying and you being talked about, it just never ending. It was just pretty much ongoing. So you just felt like no matter where you went and no matter how old you become, you were just going to be picked on, and that need to fight and defend yourself on a regular basis, that sort of disappeared. That I'm not getting that the anger and the rage, like I'm not seeing it being expressed externally. It's more inward to the point where you want to do something. You want to do something physically to defend yourself, but this is not the 7th or 8th grade, and not everybody. And this is a whole nother animal. High school is a whole nother animal, and you felt like you were more at risk, and getting into trouble and more at risk of being jumped on if you were to retaliate in high school. So you just took a lot of it in silence. You took a lot of the bullying in silence. And so what ended up happening is that it turned into like a deep depression and anxiety as a result of what you were going through. You just wanted some sort of outlet. You found an outlet. Um, but it's just like that doesn't come until later on, as far as you possibly using your words or using your magic in order for you to express yourself vocally or entirely. But I am getting that you began to like pretty much come into yourself, or basically come into your like fold into yourself and disappear into yourself, and you went further into, as far as your coping mechanism, you went further into daydreaming and dissociation, and just like disconnecting from your reality in some way, shape, or form. Watching a lot of television, maybe watching a lot of television, watching a lot of movies, playing video games, possibly doing some sort of drug, or I'm getting sleeping around, for lack of better terms, something to disconnect you from your reality, because the reality that you were paying attention to, or the reality you were living and observing, it really wasn't it. And so that's where that is coming from in regards to your high school years. Like you were going through it in your high school years. I'm just getting like you were being picked on in so many ways, so many ways and shapes and forms. And so you have the Ace of Cups here. I'm getting to put this on its side here, which means that it was okay. I'm keeping it right side up. Keep it right side up. So you have the Ace of Cups here. You were just looking for peace the majority of the time. You were looking for peace the majority of the time. But even though this is what you were looking for, this is what you were striving for, You see these piranhas, you weren't going to get it in high school. They were like in high school, like I said, high school was a whole different game. And it like created a lot of trauma for you as a result, because like it just seems like no matter what you did, like teenagers can be very, very mean. And I don't know whether or not you listen to my podcast, but I have a whole episode on the teenage brain. At this time, um, it's about acceptance. You know, teens want acceptance, and so you were not getting that. You were not getting accepted at all. You may have had friends. I'm getting to like later on, you may have developed friendships around people who are like you, or just quote unquote as weird as you are. But for the most part, outside of that circle, you were not revered at all. Um, you didn't have peace at home either. There was not a lot of peace at home either. You were not able to express yourself fully. You were not able to discover yourself fully. You were not able to experience the typical teenage experiences. You were just not able to do that because you feared punishment. And so what I'm getting is that like you didn't feel like the typical teen at all. Like I don't even what I'm getting is that like a lot of your experiences you didn't feel like a teen either. So that tells me right there that the abuse started when you were way younger, and developmentally you were someplace else. Um, so how are you? I would like to know like how you were as an adult. How were you as an adult? Oh, no, all these cards came out. I don't think I'm supposed to be using all of them. So let's. Yeah, like there's a lot of daydreaming stuff happening. So, dear higher spirit, what was the inner child collective, like the collective inner child? How were they as a? How was the? Let us say this. How could you tell me a little bit about the magical child and wounded child as an adult? What I am getting like straight up before I even pull a card is that y'all had you had a hard time facing reality. You had a hard time connecting with reality. That's exactly what I'm getting before I even pull the card out. There was a lot of wishful thinking and not being able to undergo stressful situations. And so you definitely retreated within yourself. And you also had like this skewed view of love, relationships, friendships. A lot of your reality, a lot of what was in your mind did not match reality. If anything, you pretty much reenacted your your childhood through your relationships with other people, right? Very child. What I'm getting is that you're very childlike, even as an adult. Um, and that caused a lot of problems for you, especially when it came to any sort of personal responsibility, like paying bills or like having like keeping money in your pocket. There was just no preparation for the real world, because and that's not your fault at all. That's not your fault at all, but there was just no preparation for the real world. So as an adult, oh shit, okay, yeah. um let's see here. Is this right side up? Yeah, the devil card came out. um what I'm getting here is that as an adult, um it was right side. There was a time when you turn to your addictions, like you develop an addiction. um of indulgence. There was like an addiction to is upside down. So that tells me that a lot of that has dissipated, and you did receive help. But a lot of your power was taken away because, again, you could not cope with reality. And because you could not cope with reality, you did all kinds of things and developed all kinds of defense mechanisms and coping mechanisms in order to to do so, to cope with what was going on around you, because no one taught you how to communicate. No one taught you the skills required in order for you to make it into this world. And as far as your emotional sobriety and your emotional state, you weren't either you were not in counseling, or you were not dealing with, if you were in counseling, you were not exactly, you didn't have the vocabulary and weren't exactly dealing with what was going on. And so you turned to a lot of drinking or whatever addiction that you were a part of, maybe drugs, maybe food, maybe sex, you know, video games, porn, whatever it was, you turned to that. Again, it's upside down because you did get help. But what I am getting to is that a lot of shadows came up. You were not dealing with that's what it is. You were not dealing with your shadows. You were not dealing with your shadows. You were not facing your shadows at the time. So because you were not facing your shadows, you ended up getting in really deep shit with regards to addiction or addictive behavior or being addicted to escapism, to be honest with you. Also have the fool card. You were not prepared for the real world. You were not prepared for the real world. If anything, again, you had, as an adult, you had like this thinking that if you were to just be nice to people and just do certain things, I'm thinking you felt like you can get away with stuff. So there was just no concept of personal responsibility or accountability. And so you just like bumbled through this world like la la la, nothing's going to happen to me. You felt like, and just like any other 20-something-year-old person, you felt invincible. You felt like you were invincible, and you felt as if nothing was going to happen to you because you were protected by something bigger than yourself. I want to say something a little bit about that too. The magical child is very strong within you still, even though you're a bit disillusioned by the world and very much tainted by the world. There's still a part of you that felt like you were protected by something divine, and that has been something that has been carried over from your childhood into your adulthood. And you just felt like you just took a lot of risks. A lot of risks. Did I say? I don't even know how to say that word right now. You took a lot of risks. That's what I meant to say. Risks as a result of this thinking, because you have been through so much. You just didn't have any value for your safety or your life, and so like there was a lot of foolishness. A lot of foolishness. A lot of foolishness. However, you wanted, but even regardless of what you wanted for yourself, and as far as like your goals and aspirations, there was a lot of foolishness because you were not taught any better. So I'm also getting like you were really bad with money. There was no planning at all. Again, responsibilities is what I'm getting from this card. So it's like 7 of Pentacles. I'm getting like you really didn't take any responsibility for a lot of what you've done in regards to your finances or regards to being grounded. It was just everything was just very like flying off the seat of your pants, very fleeting. And you were around 24, 25 years old acting like this. And so like it was just like live your life, YOLO, regardless of all the consequences. At the same time, um, it was just like a form of escapism, a form of escapism. All that bravado that you had, all that fake confidence that you had, that's what it was. It was all artificial because once you start stripping all that artificial stuff away, you're gonna end up realizing that your self-esteem and your self-worth is based on how other people feel about you, is based on how the world views you. It's based on um, how your life is, and how people view your life, and it's just a lot of. I'm just getting a lot of outside validation. That's the groundlessness and the lack of grounding stems from um, this this need to be validated and to be accepted and to be loved for who you are, regardless of what you look like. And there are people who are sick of this. There are people who are not impressed by this. There are people who really you really were surrounded by people at this time as well that really didn't value your safety and didn't really value your time or your life or your gifts. You didn't value them, so no one else did either. And so your 20s was very much a weird time, um, a weird time where your main concern was getting accepted, being accepted, not losing friends, and just people pleasing. A lot of people pleasing that was going on, and a lot of competition for affection. Um, and so it was just a very uncomfortable time, and I'm feeling that discomfort. There's a lot of shame and guilt around your 20s as well, and I get it and I understand, but it's also something that's part of your shadow work, to look at that part of yourself and to forgive that part of yourself, and pretty much tell that part of you, because we all have, it's not just the inner child that is to be healed and to be acknowledged, but every aspect of ourselves that have gone through some sort of trauma. And so that 20-year-old, 20 something part of you, um there's like this deep shame around that, because the way you acted, and you will not act that way otherwise today. And so you are to forgive yourself from that, for acting this way, because you were in survival mode. So I just want you to know that as well. You have like 8 of Cups here. Ooh. You kept a lot. What I'm getting here is that there was a part of you, a huge part of you, that kept a lot of your power, and it kept a lot of yourself to yourself because of the shame and the guilt. What I'm getting from this card, even though it's talking about like the end rituals, and you know, there was a lot of confusion, and there's a part of you that wanted all this to end. There's a part of you that knew that what you were doing to yourself was fucked up. What you were doing to yourself was pretty, like, not exactly wrong, but it was very unhealthy. And so like you wanted to end this, but you didn't know how. You had all these stories within you, um, all these stories within you. So the half moon, I'm getting the half moon here is about reconstruction. Okay, it's about reconstruction, it's about constructing. And so there was a time where you just wanted to change, and you're like, this life that I am leading, this life that I am living, does not suit me at all. And so as a result of that, like, I'm just getting like this, you wanted to change, you wanted things to be different, and you didn't know, you did not have the tools for things to be different. So what ended up happening is that, like, you just like went through the motions. You started going to counseling, to be honest with you. Started going to counseling, started the process of like unpacking a lot of your stuff. Um, if you have not already, but what I am getting is that this was about deconstructing and reconstructing your life in some way, shape, or form, but you not having the tools. So you just felt like, I'm just getting like this sense of hopelessness and a sense of helplessness. I'm also getting to, like, you were just looking outside of the box in regards to religion. Um, I'm getting that a lot of you were born and raised Christian, but it did not resonate with you in some way, shape, or form, or you just felt like if there was a God, God would not have put me in this situation. A lot of you have a lot of you who are resonating with this video. You also have issues with religion. You also have wounds around religion, um, and that is to be looked at as well in regards to your shadow work, because is the reason why. It could be very much the reason. In fact, it's very much the reason why you may not trust spirit to look out for you, or your ancestors to look out for you, because you, in your mind, are no different from the God that you were, or the Jesus, the white Jesus that you were forced to believe in when you were a child. So let's go ahead. Oh wow, do I have a pool? Oh wow. So okay, I'm being told, how were you in your 30s? Okay. So okay, you're being asked, like, there was a lot. Is this right side up or upside down? Okay. What I'm getting is that a lot of you are healing from this. The Eight of Swords. A lot of you in your 30s, or maybe early 40s, somewhere around this area, where regardless of when you were born, this is a timeless um, reading. What I'm getting is that a lot of you, as a result, this is definitely for the wounded child, and also for the magical child, because a lot of you still have this mentality, or healing from this mentality, that you are trapped, that um, that everything that's happened to you is still happening to you. And a lot of you have begun to distrust people, have lost faith in your spirit guides, have lost faith in yourself. You still play those thoughts in your mind that you are worthless, you are helpless. There's a lot of victimization, self-victimization going on. There's a lot of playing the victim that is happening, and there's a lot of anger. And there's a lot of anger around not getting justice. There's a lot of anger around not being seen or heard in regards to your abuse, in regards to your trauma. And there's a lot of, y'all need to take care of me now. Okay, that's what I'm also getting, like, take care of me now. And so there is the learned helplessness for some of y'all, because you are tired of being you're just tired, you're tired of taking care of people, looking out for people, being there for people at times. And you're like, and because you did not get your basic needs met as a child, you are now looking to your support system to take care of you in ways that's pretty much inappropriate at this point. And so you're being asked to let go of that, which is why I'm placing this card on the side here, because a lot of you, I'm laying it on the side, like horizontal, because a lot of you know what's going on, and you are doing everything you can to fix that issue and problem, in regards to letting go of the paranoia and the helplessness, and letting go of the stories. Let go of the stories. They are no longer. They are not to have power at this point, and this is a time for you to, like, let go of that. So let's go and check out what you as the collective can do to let go of those stories. Dear higher spirit, what can the wounded child and the magical child do to let go of the stories to change their destiny? Okay, so we got a couple of cards here. So okay, so basically what I'm getting to do is, like, time, and tide, and it's oceanic spells, or maybe it's oceanic spells and rituals. So what I'm getting is that this is a time for you to really tap into your magic, and to tap into your power in regards to your shadow work, and in regards to your own personal magic. You are very much, you're called the magical child. You have um, that that archetype has come through for a reason. That archetype has come through for a reason. The reason why magical archetype has come through is because a lot of you are um, looking for ways to use your magic, or to reconnect with your magic, reconnect with your spirituality, in order for you to do to heal from a lot of your inner child wounds, and your inner child trauma, right? This is a time for you. You're being asked to use your magic in order for you to tap into your inner child energy, and to help your inner child and all your inner selves to heal, and let them know through your healing that they are safe, you are safe, um, and the stories that they have been trapped inside of, they are no longer obligated to hold on to or to live inside of, or to relive, so to speak, because a lot of what we reenact, those stories are still alive because we're reenacting them, and they're like on loop. And so through your own healing, I'm just getting like through your own healing, you are to reconnect with your inner child, reconnect with your inner selves, all of your inner selves, and use magic and use your spirituality to do so, and to do it with compassion, right? Do it with compassion and self care, and to not overdo it and to focus on that very much. But basically, this is about you helping your inner child step into their power using your spirituality, whatever spiritual path that you are affiliated with. Use that, right, to really see yourself as the powerful, I'm getting like this powerhouse that you truly are. Again, when you were a child, you did not have control, very much control, over how people treated you and your reactions to those things, because you were dependent upon them in so many ways, in order to survive. Like having your basic needs met and just having a place to stay, if you were not kicked out of the house for whatever reason. But what I am getting from this is that now you're an adult. You are to take care of yourself. You are to start doing the healing process, because now you, regardless of who started it, you are here to finish it. You are here to break the cycle. And this is what this card is also saying: time and tide. You're here to break the cycle, and spirituality will help you break the cycle. Going to counseling will help you break the cycle. Recreating a family for yourself, that will help break the cycle. But you doing the work necessary and unpeeling those layers and using your spirituality to do so, you are supposed to be doing, that's what you're supposed to be doing with your spirituality, to heal and and to evolve as a person, um, and to not allow the past, to dictate your actions anymore. Because one of the reasons why you're also the wounded child is because you still want that sense of justice, and you're using that anger, and in many ways using that anger to burn yourself out, right? Even though you're able to help other people, by connecting your story to theirs, especially if your story resonates with other people, that's all fine and good. But this is also the time for you to really turn the tide in regards to using your story to heal yourself, by speaking out in the open about what happened, and not being ashamed about what happened as part of the shadow work, and also looking at your own toxicity. Right? It's not just about the other person, it's about your behavior as well. Again, as a child, you did not know any better, but as an adult, you cannot use your trauma to belittle other people or to traumatize other people. And so, in order for you to not be someone else's trauma story, or to be living, in trauma any longer, you are to let your spirituality see you through. Also, you have Atlantis, rapid development, excellence, and success. What I'm getting is that once you start doing the work necessary, your purpose is to help other people um, overcome the same thing. Whatever trauma they're going through, you are to help people rediscover themselves as well, because that is where your success is, to be honest with you. If you're thinking about doing any sort of work, it's something similar to what I'm doing, or being a public speaker, or being an advocate, that's where your power is as well. And I'm just getting that once you start telling your story, once you start writing your story, once you start being open and being vulnerable with people, you will find success. Whether it be monetary success or personal success, you will succeed. I'm definitely getting monetary success for some of y'all. That the more you tell your story, the more you write your story. Writing is very important. The more you write your story down and tell the truth, and do it in a way that is as healing. I'm just getting like when you start speaking up, that's when I'm starting to choke up here. This give your voice is your power. Your words are your power. Speaking out against atrocities such as trauma and abuse of all kinds. That is your success story. So I'm just going to keep it going in regards to you telling people your story, because I'm just getting people will try to hurt you as a result, but but that's more about them. And this is the time for you to. This is another reason why you're being asked to like protect yourself. You ain't going to. It's not going to be a silent thing. People are going to have a problem with you because you are speaking up against about what happened. So just be prepared for that. That's why you're being asked to up your protection. Why am I getting hoodoo for some of y'all, or you're practicing something that involves you talking to your ancestors, being with your ancestors, and just y'all need to stop playing. Like for real, y'all need to stop playing small. Y'all need to stop playing as if y'all are not powerful. This is actually the time for you. It's not a coincidence. It happened in December. This needs to end as quickly as possible, as far as you thinking that you are not good enough or smart enough. And I get it and I understand. And that's one of the struggles that I deal with on a regular basis. But I do know that because this work is so important, I keep going. So what you are being asked to do is to keep going and to use your magic. I'm getting manifestation, visualization. Imagine yourself being successful. Imagine yourself being happy with a family of your own. Imagine yourself having a successful career. Imagine yourself just being at peace. Okay, imagine yourself being at peace and work towards that as your ancestors to help you with that as well. I didn't mean for this to be a long video, but oops. But Spirit has me out here saying, you gotta tell these people this. All right, so what are the words of encouragement? Words of encouragement for the collective. The circle. You can't. This keeps coming up. You can't do this on your own. You cannot do this on your own. All this work that you're doing, as far as your this shadow work and the spiritual work and letting go of the trauma, this is not a vacuum. Like, you're not doing this on your own. You are meant to go through the healing process or the spiritual journey in order for you to help other people. No more doing things by yourself, and no more thinking as if you are the only one suffering from what's happening. Because right now, like, a lot of you are suffering in silence, and a lot of you are remaining silent because you are afraid of disrespecting your parents or the caregiver who have, raised you. But the thing is, though, like, in order for you to heal from any sort of abuse, you are to disclose what happened to you. At least talk to to somebody about what happened. Because if you keep minimizing the pain and suffering, what's going to end up happening is that you're going to talk yourself into thinking that you were the problem, and not put the onus on those who have hurt you. So you are being told to not do anything by yourself, and to not live in a bubble. This is a time for you to do possibly some public speaking, or talk to somebody about what happened, but you are not to. I'm just kidding. You're not alone, and you're not by yourself. You are never by yourself. You have your ancestors. You have your support system here, but I'm definitely getting ancestors. It's ancestors. Your ancestors are here for you, and they're very, very willing and ready to help you. I'm just getting. You need to talk. You need to talk about what happened. And so, as far as words of advice in regards to, excuse me, your child's word of advice in regards to how to relax and how to take care of yourself and practice self-care. So, What's the word of advice? Oh, okay. Safari walk. So it says here, imagine you're out in the wild, walking around. What do you see? Can you spot another animal? And so I'm getting that some of y'all are to be out in nature. You are to be out in nature so you can be at peace. And so you are not out here in your own mind. Because, like I said, with the, right here, because what's happening is that, like, my people are out here knocking stuff down. But basically, what I'm getting is that a lot of us who are especially magical children are to be out in nature, to talk, to connect with nature, to connect with the energy, and to also move energy around. I'm also being asked to do the same thing, to do movement work outside. So I'm not in my mind all the time because I get it and I understand in regards to like um, being in your mind a lot and always thinking, because I have the same, like, I'm not gonna lie, I have the same problem, or the same thing going on. And so this is literally a time for us to use that energy of nature in order to connect with ourselves and connect with other people. I'm also getting like it's time to just move around, to move that energy around, to make sure that you are not, doing this work with stagnant energy within you, um, because that's just, the body is not supposed to be holding on to all this energy in one place. And so it just puts a lot of stress on the body, but also puts a lot of stress on the mind and spirit. So we are being asked to go outside somewhere and to go out, um, and to just shut our minds off and just be in the moment. I'm just getting, we need to go outside. We need to go outside. People who are resonating with this message is to go outside. So that is it. Like that is all. Um, Thank you so much for sticking with me. If you enjoyed this video, or if it resonated with you in any way, shape, or form, by all means, let me know in the comments. You can also DM me. I am also like on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. I'm on Instagram more than anything, so please hit me up on Instagram. I am the Inner Child Collective on there. Also. If you would like a more in-depth reading, such as this, and more personalized in particular, by all means, go to www.innerchildcollective.com. I also have a podcast under the same name. If you are interested in podcasts and knowing more about the inner child, be sure to follow my podcast as well. I'm on Spotify, Anchor, Apple, iTunes, like anywhere and everywhere you can find a podcast or listen to a podcast. By all means, um, check it out. Let me know what you think, and be sure to leave a review. And also subscribe to this channel so you will never miss another video. I do videos like this every week. We'll be doing videos like this every week. And so if it resonates with you in every way, shape, or form, just click on that like button, share, comment, but most importantly, subscribe to the channel so you'll never miss another video of this kind or any other kind. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your love and your energy and your support. And I'll talk to you soon. All right. Peace.